Hello, everyone, and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. So, I'm back for the final Have Your Say for this series.
Thank God.
Finally.
And this is for RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 7, Episode 10, which is the finale. So today we're going to be recapping the episode, going through for the last time the results of the Have Your Say poll, where you at home get to vote on whether you agree with the outcome of the episode. And I'll also be going through a little bit of recent light tea to do with Trixie Mattel getting called out. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Hello everyone, it is I, your favorite feline, Dr. Claudia Poussey. I just wanted to quickly come on because Matt contacted me to say that something happened with his camera and it went very funny, very blurry, and it looked just like when RuPaul was so blurry during the first season. I don't know what was going on, but please excuse the bad quality. Okay, so let's start by recapping the episode. So we're down to the final four. It's the finale, as the name suggests. And we find out that, surprise, surprise, the final challenge is that the queens have to write and perform their own original verses to a song. And this particular song is called Money Shot. There's also lots of, like time filler type things in the episode, but they were quite sweet. So they did the thing where they have the kind of the Tic Tac lunch with Rue and Michelle. And I really liked that they brought out the Queen's parents afterwards because that was really sweet. And some of the parents were so similar to the Queens. Like it was actually freaky, some of them, how similar they are, but they were all actually really sweet and heartfelt. So I did quite like that moment. It definitely made me give out an audible aww. I also liked that they brought back Kyron Thrax, obviously the winner from last season. And they did something really cool where they watched the Queen's audition tapes, which I don't think we've ever had on Drag Race that I can think of before. They've shown clips of them maybe in the earlier seasons on the US one, I think, but I don't think I've ever seen the Queens sit down and actually watch them. So it was quite funny to actually see how the Queens were even not that long ago compared to now. And it was quite an interesting process to hear also that quite a lot of the queens, like Kyron said, she filmed in the same hallway that one of the other queens did. I guess there's only so many places you can film in London. Okay, but let's move on to the actual main event itself, which is the song Money Shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of the queens and go through the results of the Have Your Say poll. So we'll start off with Bones because she was the first to perform. I thought Bones gave a very good performance. I mean, we know that she's a performer. She's always really good at dancing and things like that. She always turns it. I thought the actual arrangement for the number in general, not just Bones's, but in general, I quite liked that they were doing this behind the scenes thing like they did on was it All Stars 3, the Kitty Girl thing? I think that when they went behind the scenes and they were kind of walking through the hallways of the set, I actually quite liked that because it makes it a bit different. It's not just another performance on the main stage. And I quite liked they had the little bits of the queens kind of nudging each other and punching each other. Like that was actually quite funny. But in terms of Bones, I thought she gave a solid performance. Her lyrics were quite good. And they also did the thing where it was they had the bit at the beginning and then they all came together and did another bit of their verse on the main stage. And I think Bones was strong in both counts. So I would definitely give her a yay. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, you said 60.6% for yay, 33.8% for just okay, and then 5.6 for nay. After that, we had Katrin Feelings. I thought Katrin's lyrics were fun and she gave a decent performance. I don't think it was the strongest of the night, but I don't think it was necessarily the weakest. She definitely incorporated a lot more of her jokes from the season, especially in the second half of her performance when she was talking about Tina No, which is from the Snatch Game, as well as she also said Bonnie, which is her Snatch Game character. So she definitely was bringing that into it as well. So I guess you've got to give her at least some points for trying to bring it back around to the narrative of the season. I think I would give her a yay, maybe bordering into a just okay, because I don't think it was sort of as polished as it could have been. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, you voted 49% for yay, so almost half, 38.4% for just okay, and 12.6% for nay. After that, we had Elle Vosk. I think Elle stood out because she was the only one that sang, and her voice is really good. I mean, we knew that from the Rusical, but she sounded really good. Her lyrics were fun. I don't think it was necessarily like she didn't go down the comedy route. She did do a few funny things, but whereas Katrin went down the more funny route, Elle was just more standing out because of her voice. I thought it was a perfectly good performance, though. Again, I don't think it was the best or the worst. So I think I'd give it a yay, but again, a yay, maybe just okay. Probably better than Catherine's, though. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, it was 52.5% for yay, so only just over half. Still 40.9% for just okay, and then 6.6 for nay. And then finally in the performance, we had Select's Addiction. I really enjoy Selecta as a queen, and I thought her lyrics were really fun, and I really actually loved her in this finale. I was kind of rooting for her to win, even though I knew she wouldn't. But I don't know about the performance itself. I don't know if it was just a stylistic choice, but I felt like in the choreography, she always seemed to be a step behind. Maybe it was just me. And then when they came on stage for the second half of their performance, she was just on the chaise lounge, I think it is. So she didn't really have any choreography. And I do wonder if either she couldn't dance that well, so they gave her that as a way for her to not have choreography, or whether she had like injured herself or something and they were trying to sort of cover it up so that she wouldn't be able to dance. I don't know, but I personally felt like her performance didn't live up to the expectation that I thought she would bring. It was still fine, so I probably would give it, again, a yay, maybe just okay, though, because I thought it actually could have been pushed a bit further. In the Have Your Say poll, it looks like you didn't agree with me, which is perfectly fair, because as we know, I know everything and I'm always right.
Is this bitch for real?
But you said 58.1% for yay, so that's more than the other two got in the yay category. 37% for just okay, and then 4.5 for nay. And then finally, I asked who gets the slay. That's me rapping, by the way.
Please stop.
And you voted 40.9% for Bones, so almost half. Select's Addiction came in second with 25.3. Elle Vosk then came third, 19.2, and Catherine Feelings got 14.6. I definitely agree that Bones was the best out of the four. I don't think any of them necessarily gave the most stellar performance that we've ever seen in Drag Race history. So I think maybe Bones was just the best of what there was. Oh, and also the eliminated queens come back in for the final part of the performance, which I thought was really nice. And a special shout out to Page 3. She was going for it. Like, you could tell she was said, I have my 2 seconds of camera time. I am getting that camera time, because she was absolutely smashing that choreography. So good for you, Page 3. Good for you.
Fall for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
Okay, so let's move on to the runway. And the theme was Epic Eleganza. And the eliminated queens also get to do the runway, which I really like. So let's go through all of them now. So first up, we have Pasty. I thought this was actually pretty cute. It's simple, but I think it's executed very well. Is it Eleganza? I guess a little bit. I don't know. I mean, we've only ever seen Pasty in, I think, 2 outfits, and neither of them were great. So, and I think she even joked about that on social media. So I think compared to that, this is definitely Eleganza. It's very simple, but I think it's tastefully done. So I would give it a yay, but it's probably a soft yay, like a yay / just okay. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, you were a bit harsher than I was, because you said 45.5% for just okay, then yay with 39.4%, and then 15.2 for nay. Next up, we had Viola. I think this is a very pretty look. It's very simple though. And I mean, given that I'm assuming the queens knew that even if they get eliminated early, they know they're going to come back for the finale, because that usually happens. So they know that their finale look is guaranteed to get shown. I thought they would have maybe tried to pick an outfit that they really like and was going to be, you know, really special. This is a perfectly beautiful outfit, but I don't think, for me, it's Epic Eleganza. So I think I just give it a just okay. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, it looks like you agreed, because you said 44.4% for just okay. But then Nay actually did come out second with 28.3%. And then not that far behind was Yay with 27.3%. Next up was Nyan Bella. I thought this look was cute. It's very simple. I like that she's got the flag on it. It was kind of giving me a little bit like when Jerry Halliwell, the Spice Girls, did the Union Jack dress, a little bit like that, but this is sort of an elevated, more gown version of it. It is a little bit simple though compared to some of the others we've had. I will say though, for just as a quick shout out for those of you who may know, I did do an interview with Nyan Bella, which is over on my interview channel, and I'll link to that below. Nice little plug there. Ding. But in the interview, Niall Bella did make a very good point that she said basically she had no money going into the season. So a lot of the stuff that she had, she made herself. She can actually sew, which you may not know from what we saw, but she made a lot of it herself. She had no money. So a lot of it was just either borrowed or kind of stuff that she was bringing in from wherever. And I think when you think that a lot of these queens literally have nothing and they probably don't really get much money for drag, a lot of them have day jobs because they just can't afford to sustain drag as a career, especially in the UK. It's just, I think the economy around drag is not as built up as it is in other countries like the US. So I think when you look at it through that lens, this is probably why you get this level of outfit. So compared to a US season, this isn't as eleganza. So I think I'd still give it a just okay, but just I wanted to mention that because I think it's something that perhaps people need to think about a little bit more when they're judging these outfits, that you can't compare them to necessarily other countries that have different availabilities to them. And yes, I'll just get down from my soapbox now. Okay, so in the Have Your Say poll, you voted 44.4% for just okay, 36.9% for yay, and 18.7% for nay. After that, we had Chai Tea Grande. This is a very pretty look. I really love that it's obviously celebrating her Thai heritage and her Thai roots, and walking barefoot on the runway is actually really cool. We don't see that very often, so I really actually liked that. And obviously it was part of the outfit and the heritage and everything. It was very pretty. Her makeup was really nice. It is simple though compared to maybe some of the other outfits like this that we've seen on Drag Race, but I will refer you back to what I just said about the money thing. But if we are just giving it a score, I probably would give it a just okay towards a yay. And it looks like you broadly agreed because you said 45.4% for just okay, 36.9% for yay, and 17.7% for nay. Next up, we had Sally TM. I really enjoyed this outfit. It's very Sally. It's weird. The makeup's weird. The outfit's weird. There are clashing patterns that shouldn't work, but they do. There are neon prints on top of other neon prints, and it is just crazy, but it all works somehow. I personally really liked it because it definitely showcases her personality, so I think I'd give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it looks like you agreed 68.2% for yay, 24.7% for just okay, and 7.1% for nay. After that, we had Page 3. I really enjoyed this because it's a very different silhouette that we've seen from Page a lot throughout the season. I thought it was a really cool concept to have the different newspapers with things that she's written about herself. It actually is very cool and very well done, so I would definitely give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you agreed because 73.2% said yay, so that's almost 3/4, 20.2% for just okay, and then 6.6% for nay. Next up was Bonnie and Clyde. I like this outfit, but it is very simple. It's very beautiful, and I think it's well done, and the hair, like they said, it looked like a fork. I actually was like, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. I do think it's a little bit simple for this runway though. I would have thought she could have done something a bit bigger, given that I think she has done some quite cool concepts in previous runways. So I think I'd only be able to give this a just okay because I think I was maybe expecting a little bit more because she has delivered in the past. But in the Have Your Say poll, it looks like you disagreed with me. How dare you? 55.1% for yay, but I think I would have kind of agree. 36.4% for just okay. Maybe I would have put them the other way around. And then 8.6% for nay. Then we had Terrace Mongardi. This is a really pretty look. I like the different tones, and that purple is a beautiful color. We don't see that color, I don't think, enough on the runway. I don't know what you would call it. Nice purple?
That is not right.
I really like that color. It's very regal. I think the fact that it matched with this sort of top half that was more kind of her skin tone almost, but it worked really well with the purple. My only slight tiny gripe with it is I think the material on the dress is very wrinkly looking, and that slightly took me out of the illusion of it a little bit. Maybe it's because fabric is just expensive, so she had to go for this, or maybe that's what she was going for. That's my only tiny gripe though, but I still would give it a yay because I think it's a nice look. In the Have Your Say poll, surprisingly, you said 51% for yay, so that's maybe less than I thought it was going to be. Then it was 37.9%, let's call it 40% for just okay, and then 11.1% for nay. Then going on to the actual top 4 runways, we have Bones. I loved this outfit. It is actually sort of simple when you actually look at the different components, but the way it's all kind of the drapage of it, yes, that is a real word.
No, it's not.
I really liked that. As RuPaul said, this looks like something from the movie Dune. It's so kind of sci-fi, futuristic, weird, but beautiful and really striking. Also, that hair that looked like a big cone on her head, that was also really cool. So I would definitely give this outfit a yay. And it looks like you agreed just a little bit because you said 83.3% for yay. 14.6% of you said just okay. And then I think 2% of you need to get your eyes checked because you said nay. After that, we had Catherine Feelings. I'm not sure about this look. I feel like this isn't a very Catherine look for a finale Eleganza. Maybe she wanted to do something a bit different, but to me, this looks like an outfit that another queen would wear, but I don't know if I would say this is a Catherine look. It's pretty, but it is literally just a plain pink dress with a big bow. So I think I would have to give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 43.9% for just okay. Then it was yay just about with 29.3%. But then nay was not that far behind with 26.8%. Then penultimately, and yes, I am going to say it again. I know some of you don't like me saying penultimately, but I'm going to keep saying it. So penultimately, we have Select's Addiction. This is a really cool look. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I don't know if these things kind of, do you know what this reminded me of? This is a really British reference. We have these crisps, or what you Americans would call potato chips, called hula hoops, and they're these rings. And these kind of looked a bit like giant hula hoops on her body in a good way. I really liked this outfit though. It's really cool. I have no idea what it is, but it's really editorial, avant-garde. How many other buzzwords can I throw in? But it is really cool and futuristic. I would definitely give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you agreed with me on the hula hoop look. So it's 85.4% for yay, 10.6% for just okay, and then a weird 4% of you said nay. Maybe it's the people who have trypophobia. Is that the fear of holes? I can't say that I've ever met a hole I didn't like.
Slut.
And finally, we have Elle Vosk. I'm sorry, I didn't really enjoy this outfit that much. It's pretty, but it's very simple. But I also kind of thought it looked, for Elle, not very polished. She normally comes out looking amazing and really kind of expensive, whether it is expensive or not, I don't know, but she always comes out looking that way. I thought this just looked like a standard tulle dress that you would buy. I also thought her makeup looked a little bit different than how it normally does, and not necessarily in a good way. So I don't know, I had mixed feelings about this. It wasn't my favorite. I don't think it's bad enough for a nay, but to me, it would be just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, I feel like maybe you sort of agreed, because although yay did come out on top with 39.4%, it was actually really split between all of them. Just okay then come out second with 36.9%, but then nay still got actually a pretty decent proportion with 23.7%. So I asked you who then gets the ooh. Ooh. I'll stop, I promise.
Nurse! For me, nurse!
Slay on the runway, and you said Bones with 27.3%, Select's Addiction was second with 22.7%, and then joint second was Page 3 with 22.7%, and then Sally would have been third with 7.1%. I was very torn between Bones and also Selexa. I did like Bones' outfit, and it was very futuristic, but I think I would have to give it to Selexa just because it was so random and hula hoop-ish. So yeah, I think I would have to go with Selexa for the slay. Also, Selexa slay just satisfies all of the alliteration bugs that I have in my head. Okay, so let's move on, and we find out they're going to vote for Miss Congeniality, and they don't say this, but I'm assuming that it excludes the top four, because otherwise it would be a bit mean if they gave it to them. So I'm just going to say it excluded the top four. And we find out that this season's Miss Congeniality winner is Chai Tea Grande. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who would you have voted for the Miss Congeniality, excluding the top four? And you said Chai Tea Grande, 36.4%, Sally TM, 15.7%, then third was Tayris Mongardi with 14.1%, and then Nyan Bella was fourth with 13.6%. I would agree. I think I would have voted, it would have been to me between Chai and also Sally, but I would give it to Chai because she was very sweet throughout the season. Maybe you could say she was a sweet tea. But I think she was always very nice, very accommodating, really nice to all of her sisters, and I think she did deserve it. Okay, so we find out it's obviously going down to a top two, and I think as no surprise to anybody, we find out the top two are Elle Vosk and Bones. So Elle and Bones then lip synced the song You Make Me Feel Mighty Real, but it's the Jimmy Somerville version. And we find out the winner of the season is Bones! So congratulations to Bones, our new crowned queen of Drag Race UK. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, were you surprised by the winner? And perhaps unsurprisingly, 86.4% of you said no, and 13.6% said yes. I then asked you, who did you want to win? And 40.4% of you said Bones, so that is the biggest proportion. But then Select's Addiction surprisingly got in second with 28.8. Elle Vosk was just behind with 27.8, and then Catherine Feelings only got 3%. I kind of see where some of you are coming from, although I knew Bones was going to win, and I think she did deserve it. I did think that actually Celexa came off really well in this particular episode, but the season in general, she's very fun, and I knew she wasn't going to win, but I really like Celexa. Also, that bit where they announced that Celexa was not in the top 2 and she walked off stage.
F you and f you. Rancid little cows. What a joke.
That was so funny. I'm so glad someone did something like that, 'cause otherwise it would have been really boring. And finally, I asked you to give the season an overall rating in stars. So 1 star being the lowest, 5 star being the highest. And the average rating came out at 2.55 stars. And you can see the distribution of the votes. Most votes were in the 3-star category, and then it was the 2-star category, with 5-star only getting 3.5% of the vote. And I agree, we'll get onto this in a second when we talk about the comments, but I probably would have given it maybe around a 3-star mark, because it was fine, but I don't think it was the best season. I'm not sure it's as bad as 2 stars. I think that's a little bit low, but I think 3 is probably where I'd put it, because it's kind of average. Okay, so let's move on to the final round of comments for the season, and we'll start with my Patreon comments. My Patreon Amy said, "Oh, so predictable. They've been propping Bones up all season, and like I say whenever there's riggery, it takes away from a winning queen's credibility. Like so many others, Bones is actually capable of winning a crown on her own. If I were in her place, I might feel like the crown was cheapened because of the clear riggery." And I think someone else mentioned this to do with All Stars 10 and Ginger Minj in the Have Your Say comments. I 100% agree with this, because I thought the exact same thing. Ginger Minj instantly popped into my mind that I always felt bad for queens when this happens, because I think Ginger could have easily won All Stars 10 without the riggery, but the riggery then cheapened her win. I think Bones probably would have won without the riggery, but I think my thing with this season in general is just that it was very produced. And I did feel a bit sorry for Bones, because it was obvious she was going to win, but production made it obvious. And we shouldn't be able to see production doing their work. We should know it's there, but not see it. My Patreon Max said, "Is the UK the first non-US season to reach 7? I believe the answer is yes. I'm starting to wonder if there's a season 7 curse, because obviously Drag Race US season 7 was considered a flop at the time, although I feel like nowadays maybe people don't see it as that, but at the time it was seen as not as good as the previous ones." And my Patreon Jessica said, "I much prefer the last performance/song version of the finale than a rotating lip sync Lollapalooza. I think they should be more for the eliminated queens to do a secondary prize." I agree with that. I think the eliminated queens should have been able to do some kind of lip sync competition to get an extra bonus or something. Or they should at least have done, I don't know, something, not just the final performance, because otherwise it feels a little bit unfair. But overall, the whole season was pretty underwhelming, and now we can focus on Canada. And if you like Canada, you can also see my Have Your Say videos for Canada as well. And I'll put a link to my Canada's Drag Race Have Your Say videos in the description. Ding! Okay, so moving on to the Have Your Say poll comments, there were a lot of comments that had quite a similar sentiment that we've kind of talked about. So someone said, "Honestly, this was the worst finale lip sync. Both of them just walked around and posed. Super disappointing." And on a kind of similar note, someone said, "It was very dull overall to watch. I never felt that, oh, it's Drag Race Day, let's go watch. I felt Celexa did best. Also, using the song that Bob killed Derek with was a choice for these girls." And this is true. As soon as they showed this was the song. I remembered that Bob and Derek did this on season 8, and they obviously did the, I believe, original version, whereas this was some random version by, I think he's Scottish, the singer who did it. So I don't know if that's like the UK British version thereof, but I do just feel like, could they not have just picked a different song? Also, yeah, the lip sync was a little bit meh, if we're being honest. On a slightly more positive note, someone said, all the queens did great. UK is just getting as overproduced as the USA's though. It's really doing the queens a disservice. Wish producers would allow more reality into their reality competition show. And then on a similar note, someone said, please tell production to stop meddling and leave the cast to do their thing. And then I think someone commented what I think a lot of us were feeling was, it was a meh season. And I think I just want to make a point that yes, this was probably not the best season of Drag Race UK and it was a little bit meh. But just remember that obviously the queens themselves know that this is the outcome. They know what the fan reaction has been. But for them, obviously remember, this is their chance on Drag Race. So whether you like the season or not, I have seen some people being quite mean on social media saying that the queens were like lackluster and it's their fault and stuff. I don't think it's their fault. I think it was a combination of things of just bad production. I think the casting wasn't diverse enough. So it just kind of created a bit of a meh season, but that's not the queen's fault. And remember, this is their shot at the big time, so it must be really disappointing for them as well to have that. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you thought of Drag Race UK season 7 overall, and if you did think that it was meh, how would you develop it and improve it for future seasons? Also, thank you so much to all of the amazing, lovely comments that have been in my Have Your Say poll throughout the season. I do try and read all of them. I don't always show all of them on screen, but I do read them, and it honestly is so lovely. Thank you all so much for tuning in for this series. It does really mean a lot to me that you value my expert opinions. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a little bit of light tea to do with Trixie Mattel getting called out by James St. James. So some of you may already be familiar with James St. James, but for those of you who are not, he's a TV personality and author who's worked a lot with Matthew Anderson, who used to be RuPaul's makeup artist, and James is also a former club kid. James has worked a lot with World of Wonder over the years, such as curating art shows at the World of Wonder Theatre. He also appeared on Drag Race Season 2, Episode 9, where he interviewed the contestants during the runways. Some of you also may know James because he had a popular show on WoW/YouTube called Transformations, which ran for 6 seasons, where he got put into drag by many different people, including lots of Drag Race alums, but also other makeup artists. And many of these videos on YouTube have racked up over 1 million views, such as his Transformations video with Katya. However, it looks like the series got unofficially cancelled because the last episode came out in 2020 and there haven't been any new episodes since. So because of this body of work, James is quite well known within the drag community and is also quite connected with a lot of the Drag Race queens. However, James recently called out Trixie Mattel for apparently stealing one of his costumes. As some of you may know, Trixie and Katya have a massively popular show called where the two of them just talk about a random topic. In the Thanksgiving episode that came out in 2016, which has over 4 million views, Trixie wore a turkey costume. This moment became a popular meme and has been used all over social media for years, and it's especially popular in November around Thanksgiving.
Every day is Thanksgiving.
Oh, honey, Thanksgiving? Oh, honey, thanks living!
Well, recently, James St. James seems to have suggested that Trixie stole that outfit. On the 26th of November 2025, James tweeted saying, "Swear to God that if I see that goddamn video of Trixie in my turkey outfit that I wore on Transformations first, that she stole from me and never once acknowledged, I will have an aneurysm." Still infuriated about it, everyone telling her how funny she is, thief. Someone then replied to James saying, "Girl, it's a turkey costume, it's not Chanel." But James replied back saying, "It's the entitlement and lack of consideration. Also, transformations ended because it didn't have the numbers that had, and I was told I was dragging down the algorithm, so I'm still salty about that." And people weren't sure if James was actually being serious or not, because he and Trixie have done episodes of transformations and other videos together, so they clearly do know each other. However, James later deleted his original tweet, presumably because he was getting some backlash about it, but I found screenshots of the original tweet on Reddit. But the replies to the original tweets are still available on Twitter, and for example, a Twitter user retweeted James's original tweet and said, "James St. James having a one-sided beef with Trixie Mattel over a turkey costume was not what I expected to wake up to today. Well, I love, live Trixie the person, but Trixie the star can go fart in a fan. And yeah, she probably doesn't even know who I am, so you're right about it being one-sided." But then another Twitter user commented asking if this was a joke, but God from Canada's Drag Race replied saying, "Is not." I did some more digging because I wanted to know if there was any more backstory to this, and it looks like this isn't the first time that James has mentioned it. Back in 2023, World of Wonder tweeted Happy Thanksgiving with this clip of Trixie in the turkey costume from And James commented on the post saying, "Not Trixie stealing my turkey outfit that I stole from Matthew every freaking Thanksgiving." So it sounds like it wasn't actually James's turkey costume, but it presumably belonged to Matthew Anderson. Also, back in 2021, Trixie Cosmetics tweeted a photo of Trixie in the turkey outfit, and James commented on that post too, saying, "The day you stole my turkey costume, you mean?" Trixie hasn't replied to any of the comments from what I can see, so in general, I assume maybe this was just some light playful shade from James and wasn't too serious. However, some people online interpreted it as James being salty about Trixie's popularity because James's show on WoW got cancelled, whereas Trixie and Katya's show is still very popular. But I just thought this was interesting, so I thought I'd mention it in this video because it's some very interesting backstory and Drag Race lore that some of you may not have known about, but we'll have to wait and see if any more ever comes of it. And as I always say in my videos, this is just some light tea and it's really not that serious, so please don't send hate to anyone involved and just consume this type of content passively. So there you go, there was the final Have Your Say video for RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 7. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Season 7 overall, and what do you hope that they do for future seasons that they haven't done in this one. If you'd like to have your comments featured in my future Have Your Say videos, I'm currently doing Canada's Drag Race, but I'll also be doing other seasons like the US season when that comes out. Please make sure you check out my Patreon because you'll get access to that, as well as a raft of other benefits such as early access, exclusive Patreon chat, exclusive full-length interviews, as well as many, many other things. So please check out my Patreon and I'll put a link to it in the description. Also, I'd like to say a massive, massive thank you to all of my amazing Patreon members. You are all absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for all of the love and support you've shown me, not just throughout UK 7, but also all of the seasons, all the time. Honestly, you are absolutely amazing. You are my favorite people. Thank you all so much. Please make sure you like and comment on these videos because it really does boost it in the algorithm and promote it to more people. And please make sure you smash the subscribe button. I'd love to get to 140k subscribers by the end of the year, but I can only do it with your help. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in another series of Have Your Say videos in the future. Thank you so much. Bye.